To make a death's head button, you need a wooden mold. I'll put the link below. I was able to find these on Amazon, but they seem to have no longer have them. Gina B. Silkworks has them in the UK, and then there's a place in the United States that's called, I can't remember, but I'll put the link. And so you need a button mold. This one is an inch, right? And then I just use, Sue Spargo has a little thing that she uses for, well, all kinds of stitches, but I find it very useful. And you just want to mark for, put this into quarters, right? And if you have a pen like this, it works well because the gauge is pretty thick and it's hard to find something that'll fit in here, but these markers do. So there's my 4, and then I'm going to go ahead, and if you watched the Zornknopf video that I did, it's the same. You're going to take your beeswax, you're going to rub it all over this, the sides as well as the back. It gives it a little tackiness to keep those threads from slipping around. And I find it's worth taking the time to do this because otherwise I'm fighting with those threads slipping and I'm constantly having to check and make sure that they don't do that. Now I'm going to take a thread. It can be any thread. You can do a variegated, you can do several colors. I'm going to start with just one color. I'm using a pearl cotton, number 8. I press my tail into the back here, and then go from bottom to top, bottom to top. And I'm going to do 5 of these. I like to switch, so go the middle and then one side, the other side, the other side, the other side until I have 5. I just scoot those together. And now I'm going to turn this clockwise and I'm going to go from bottom to top, bottom to top, one side, then the other side, one side, and the other side. I have found that doing it one side to the next from the middle keeps it from slipping. That's just been my experience. You should do whatever you want. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it clockwise. And I'm going to go from bottom to top, bottom to top, bottom to top, bottom to top. So I keep turning clockwise. Wrapping the thread as I go. If you want to change colors, you can. I've seen buttons where there's several different colors, so after 2 or 3 or 4 go-arounds, you can tie a knot in the back and change the color. I'm just going to keep going with this. Now at a certain point, I'm going to need to put a pin in the middle because it becomes very difficult to keep doing this without a pin. So if you have a pin, or I guess a toothpick would work as well, or some sort of stick of some kind, that would work. I've got 4 here. I can try to do one more and see if it'll work. But at a certain point, these start to slip from the middle. I also want to make sure that these stay straight and don't start curving, this way. Okay, so I'm going to take a pin, I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just going to pierce the pin into the back hole like this. I don't want it to really come up too far. I want it to sort of just sit there. It's just going to make my threads a little bit easier to hold. So the thread is now going to be going around the pin, and that'll keep it from veering off from the threads getting away from me. It's kind of nice to do this with a variegated thread. It gives it a little added interest. I've seen one person shows doing this with black and white threads, a kind of goth thing. That's pretty. But you can see that if you did it in different colors, you'd get a kind of stripe effect that could be quite pretty and effective. Very geometric. Keep going around. I'm going to squeeze one more in here. And there I have my button. Now I don't take my pin out yet. I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to cut this length off. I'm going to thread up a needle. Doesn't matter what size, just any needle that you can thread this on will work. Pull that through. And now I'm going to grab these stitches here, like this, and I'm going to pull my needle through. And the point is I'm trying to do what the pin is doing for me, right? And then once I have that pretty well adhered, I can pull my pin out. And that should do it. If I see anything that's kind of loose, I can pull on it and just tweak it so that I'm sure that I grabbed it all. But there's my death's head button. I think these are pretty if you were doing clothing, to do a whole bunch of these and sew them on. I'll show you how to do this right-handed, but Gina B. Silkworks has a great video for right-handed. She also sells these molds. I think I mentioned that. And there's another place here in the States that sells these, so I'll put those links below for you. And as I said, I'll show you how to do this right-handed, and maybe I'll even add a color just to show you what that looks like. I'm using a Pearl 8 cotton pearl 8 weight thread, and I'm going to do the second color in this one, and I may add a third color, I don't know. For right-handed, I hold my tail in the back, I press it against my wax, go from bottom to top, bottom to top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top. Now I'm going to turn it counterclockwise, and I'm going to go from bottom to top. I do find that if you alternate from the center and go on either side, it has less likelihood of slipping. That's just me. And now I'm going to go from bottom to top. Bottom to top. Bottom to top. Bottom to top. And that's 4. I'm going to change threads now. So I'm going to put this down like this. I'm going to clip this. I'm going to thread a needle. I want to go in here, in here, and now I can just weave this in the center. I'm going to make sure that these are where I want them to be. I can tweak them a little. Make sure that these are lined up straight and aren't curving on me. I'm going to add my next thread. I've added my next color, which is also a Pearl 8. This is a Steph Francis. I'm going to add my pin now because it's going to make my life a lot easier if I do it right away, just like I did before. And I'm going to find the last one, which was this one. So I know that I'm going to start now by going bottom to top, right where I left off. Bottom to top. And the pin's just going to make it a little bit easier for me. When I see it's curving, I just want to tweak it a little. So that it's straight. Okay, so I have 4, and I can see that this part is much closer than this part. So I can just scoot all this over a little bit, just to ensure that I have the same distance between the sides. And if that means I have to scoot these over, then that's what I do. Okay? And now I can keep going, or I can change my thread. I'm going to go ahead and change my thread. So I'm going to cut this off, just like I did before. I'm going to thread the needle. I'm going to tie a knot, and I'm going to go into the back. And then I'll tie my new thread on to the end of this one. Here's my threaded thread. I'm going to go under here. I need to switch hands because I'm left-handed and this is hard for me to do. What I'm doing is making sure that these are tied together so that they don't come loose on me. I'm going to look at the front. I can tweak this a little. That's pretty good. So still a little bowed right there. I'm just going to be aware of that as I move forward. Now I'm going to come up into the center with my thread. I'm leaving my pin in because I'm going to need it. I'm going to add a third color. You can do whatever you like. You can keep going. You don't have to add colors. I just thought it would be fun to experiment with another color. I'm going to add this one to my tail here. I'm going to clip off these ends. And I'm going to find my last row, which was this one. I can see it's going over both, which means I'm going to start on this one. So again, bottom to top, counterclockwise, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, so this is getting much, much closer than these. So I'm going to push these over a little bit. And I'm also going to push these over a little. So I'm giving myself a little more room. That's pretty good. So I think I'm going to go ahead and tie this off. I don't want to pull my pin out. Clipping, threading. And again, I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. Putting my needle down through here. Just tying these parts together. Once I have them all tied together, I can pull my needle out, my pin out. Can pull my pin out. And there's my button using 3 different colors. And of course, you can do all the same as I did here. I did this one, which is just 2 colors. So instead of changing, I just kept going I would have kept going with this dark. But that's basically it. You can do less, only 2 and make stripes. So you're going back and forth, back and forth. But the variations are as much as you want. I'm going to go ahead and push my needle through here a couple of times. And then I'm going to tie a knot and end this. You can leave it if you want. I'm just going to end it and figure I'll have a different thread to attach them. So I hope you found this fun and maybe you want to give it a shot. And there they are. This one I did in sashiko thread with a variegated sashiko thread. So solid, 2 colors and 3 colors. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, let's keep stitching together.